All right. I believe we are now recording and we're now ready. Okay, so Bonnie, good morning. Welcome
Morning.
to Wade College. We are super excited and thrilled to have you here with us today. I have always loved your art, and I have seen you create such incredible work. And I remember when we first kind of knew each other, you were kind of just getting started in this body of work, and it's come so far.
It really
And
has.
it really has, and it's just, I mean, wow. Um, so everyone, let me introduce Bonnie just a little bit. She has been, I guess don't you own the Encaustic Center of Dallas, Bonnie?
Yes, I have two working studios, teaching studios, non-accredited, and one the Bonny Studio,
Yes.
and the other is the Encaustic Center, teaching the art
Okay.
of painting with wax.
And so how many years have you been doing that?
The Bonny Studio I've had, which is mostly, well, it started off mostly oil and acrylic painting, and that's what we still have, but in classes, but it's really grown into a lot of mixed media workshops as well. And I've had that about 17, 18 years, and then the Encaustic Center about 11 years. And I bring artists, guest artists in from all over the country to teach different methods and their unique way of approaching encaustic and again other mediums.
I wanted to tell everybody that, of course, Bonnie is an excellent teacher, but she's a great example of the kind of artist that when you look at her work, it's very clear that she practices what she teaches, and she practices all of that, and she puts it to really amazing use. Bonnie, so you have been a professional artist in the DFW Metroplex for many years as well. You've been exhibiting at professional art galleries as well. Is there one gallery in particular that you really belong to, so to speak?
Not at this
Show that?
time. Yeah,
No.
not at this time. I've had incredible shows,
Mhm.
well, experiences for me at Con Drennan Contemporary at Liliana Block. I've had, several one-person shows here over the years and have been in group shows. Um, but in the recent years, I've been a little bit more connected and invested in a gallery that's in New York. And sadly, the one-person show that was coming up this past May, COVID occurred,
Oh,
so
right.
that didn't happen. But in a way, I'm kind of glad because the work has, even since May, has just taken on new dimensions. So when it is rescheduled, I think it'll be a whole different experience. So
Mhm.
I'm actually pretty glad about that. So yeah, my attention has been up there a little bit more the last couple of years, and I did have a one-person show up there with another gallery called Number Four, and the gallery that I'm associated with up there right now is called M. David and Co. Michael
Wow.
David. Mhm.
Well, congratulations. That your
Thank you.
career has blossomed so much in the last several years, and I'm
Thanks.
so happy for you. Bonnie, do you mind if I read a little bit from your artist statement to share that with everyone today?
Oh, sure.
Okay. And if I get it wrong or I butcher it, let me know, okay? Uh, Listen, everyone, Bonnie puts so much thought into what she does, and her conceptual message, I think, really clarifies that. She says, and I'm quoting now, investigating life's illusory nature and questioning all things seemingly stable, I construct new realities, environments, and objects which are at once ephemeral and eternal. I work with a variety of materials, both natural and manufactured, branches, roots, foam, acrylic, latex, something called Tivec. You'll have to tell us about that. Rawhide, fur, wings, metal, and vinyl, creating newly contextualized forms, unexpected yet somehow familiar. Everything worth knowing, I'm almost done. Everything worth knowing is cloaked in a paradox because everything substantial defies being revealed in its totality. And that's a quote by Mark Nepo. Bonnie, tell
Yes.
us about that a little bit in your own words. Could you please?
Um, more specifically about the quote or the materials or what area?
All of it. But let's start with the quote because that quote was that's a lot to put in your brain pan, you know, to think about and understand. What is
It is, and I feel like it's hard to talk about my work in some ways because it's really hard to talk about things that are formless and when you're making forms. And so the only way in is kind of by this paradox, by making things and constructions that sometimes point to some deeper truth, I feel. And so we all feel like we have an inner life and an inner truth and a consciousness. And so those are things that maybe don't have a particular form, a 3D form. And so, um, how do you talk about that interior life?
mm,
And so I try to create situations and make objects that question reality. Because I mean, when I think about stability and our expectations and constructs, maybe sometimes in your life you've 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 considered your your trajectory or who you are in a particular way, and maybe you wake up to something that's a surprise to you, like, why did I always think that? And maybe it's a given, but it's not really true for you or not true anymore. And so with this pandemic, I think it was put a magnifying lens on all of this, where things that we saw as stable just kind of rocked our world. And
yeah.
then when you think about it, really, what was stable? And it's a continuum of thought and expectations and hopes and memories. I think it has a lot to do with, like, I just heard a quote that I really loved, was that we're always painting our memories.
Hmm.
And we have all of our notions about ourselves and who we are that we bring to our work, and that's all we can bring to it. And so everything with our hands that we're making is based on our preconceived notions about materials and again about stability. And so uh you know and then it's like, what is good and what is bad, all these things that we apply to situations. So, someone might be striving for something in particular that makes absolutely no difference to you, but is of the utmost importance to them. So, it's like there's no one right. And how do we all, like, it's amazing we communicate and get along as well as we do. So just finding those connections. And so I think when I think about installation and these objects, I want to create an environment that you know that people are attracted to just visually, and that will bring you in. But at the same time, just kind of like looking at things like, well, what is that? It looks like a monster. It looks like an animal. It looks like a body. It looks like people could attribute it as happy, sad, complicated, different terms. And everybody's right because it's their takeaway. And so right now, after we go through the work that you're going through, when I show you the work in the studio, this is work that I'll be making an installation. Well, I did the best I could in the studio, but I'll be installing it to take some proper photographs and documenting it, where you could walk around and be in an environment and be more immersed. So this will be the new body of work I'll be showing you that I'm into right
Oh,
now.
how
So
exciting.
that's how I'm talking about my statement. I hope that's
That's
helpful.
exciting, Bonnie. It's like we get a sneak peek of all the latest, hottest stuff, right?
Yeah, hot off the press.
Thank you for sharing that with us. That's
Yeah,
exciting.
thank
Um,
you.
Okay, so but you, gosh, you almost answered a lot all these questions I had prepared all in one statement. but but I did prepare some questions. But let's see. I think maybe I should screen share with everyone so that I can show your work, Bonnie.
Right?
And if there's a specific piece that you would rather talk about, you'll just have to tell me which one to click on.
Okay,
Does that sound good?
that sounds
Okay.
great.
All right. Give me one moment while I remember how to screen share. One I mean, wow. We normally use an application called Teams at school.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of it.
I'm not a Zoom god here. John, are you with me? Let's see.
Are you looking for the share
I
button?
am actually looking for the share button right now. Share
Um,
screen. Here it is. I
yeah,
got it. I got it.
yeah,
I think this is it.
okay.
Desktop share. Okay. Okay. Everyone should be able to see my, whoa, excuse me. There we go. All right, we're here now.
Okay.
So, Bonnie, these are incredible photographs, by the way, of your work. Can I just ask a question, maybe, and then we go from there?
Sure.
Is that all right?
Yeah.
Bonnie, I was wanting to know. So, okay, when I look at your works, one piece to the next, and especially when I see them in this format, with everything kind of in one space, there seems to be a very strong visual unity, visual aesthetic throughout your works. My question, though, is when you're creating these objects, these forms, these sculptural forms, um, are you making a conscious effort or a mental, is it is it your mission to kind of make sure that they really work together as a body of pieces? Or is are you approaching each one as an individual kind of a thing? Or is it both? I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's a good question. I mean, I think it's both. I feel like I usually have kind of a sense of what my work is about, and I probably have a couple words in mind, but I think just having worked over the many years, you kind of get used to what your sensibility is. And, mine is kind of organic, nature based, um, and kind of blowing things apart and bringing them together, different elements. But so when I'm working, I might be like usually just picking up materials in the studio and like holding them together and seeing if they feel like they want to be together. If
I
um,
see.
and then I might be like hard to I might be get some idea like, oh gosh, I wish that thing was kind of peeling off. How
Mm,
could I make a piece of that peel off of that? And then maybe it's like, oh, I have to get some foam that'll resist that. I'll do some tests on that, and then I'll pull that off and it'll start hanging from there. And then, oh, that gave me an idea for another. So usually one process starts leading to another, and then that usually involves a lot of uh, supply shopping and
oh,
just experimenting.
so that leads me to my next question, Bonnie. There are some unusual kind of combinations of material here. I'm talking about like the raw building blocks, right? So, I mean, am I right in seeing like what looks to be like black rubber and then there's pink foam? Is that
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So, okay. So, Bonnie, how are you choosing these materials? Are you experimenting with them first somewhere to see if they do what you want them to do?
Well, initially, it's not actually rubber. It is also a foam. The one you're seeing that looks like a rubber is a two-part foam. So I
Okay.
work with two different types of foam. One is a two-part and one is just a spray foam. And then what I did initially, the reason I got started on that was I wanted to make skins of things. So I wanted objects that were empty on the inside, but just had the form on the outside.
I
like
see.
a mold.
Okay.
And so, like for instance, that big tree piece that's leaning against the wall, I covered that with uh, with a like Johnson's wax, and then I poured the foam over it, and then I pulled it off. And that's that object, which you can't only see on the top right hand corner, the black object that's kind of swirling around. We'll probably see it again. Yeah, up there.
Okay. All right. That
And
came from the tree?
right. So,
Wow.
but I also made some hanging pieces that aren't actually showing in this one. I don't even know if we'll have them, but they just are like parts of trees. And I just pulled the skins off of them and let it be sliced open and hanging. So then once I started getting into that foam, then it was like, oh, I'm going to use it on other objects as well.
My
And
next
then,
question for you, Bonnie, is, I mean, I think you kind of already answered this, but I mean, I'm reading this. Is this in your mind? Is this a kind of self-portrait? Would it be okay to call it that?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
So is that why these things look so corporeal, so body-like? Because
yeah.
it's an expression of yourself and who you are.
I
But as
like
you put it, from the inside, is that right?
yeah,
Or
all of a sudden I lost the,
uh-oh.
uh-oh, hold on. I got you and I lost the,
I can stop sharing and then share again if that helps.
okay, let me see. Oh, I think I'm back. I'm
You're
back.
back.
I don't know
Okay.
what just happened.
Gosh. Okay.
Yeah, I'm
Technology drives me
sorry.
crazy.
It's so scary. I'm sorry. Ask me that again about, you said about body like and self-portrait.
Being corporeal, to me, when I look at I mean, like some of these things literally look like skin, flayed skin, or internal organs a little
Yes.
bit. Am I off base here at all?
No, not at all.
Oh,
That's so true.
okay.
And it's I've been looking a lot recently too, in keeping with the pandemic mood, at like Goya and Hieronymus Bosch,
Oh, I love
you know,
Bosch. Yeah.
right? So like just the sense of a heaven and hell,
Yeah.
not that I'm speaking spiritually about heaven and hell. I'm not. I'm just, our own internal like falling apart, or wholeness and body. And um so I think, yes, I think it's self-portrait, but I also hope and think it's universal, in the sense that how how we kind of, I don't know, I hope that people feel a connection to that organic sense of body as well, which, I mean, you picked up on it, so that's awesome.
Yes, indeed. Is there a particular piece that you'd like to talk about?
um
I have a question about this one, if that's all right.
okay, yes, that's fine. I can talk about any of them.
Okay, so when I first saw this piece, the way that I kind of read this is it's a relationship between these two entities. They don't, to me anyway, they don't read as being one and the same. They read as being two separate kind of entities interacting with one another. Is that
Right.
is that a correct interpretation?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think it's a discord, a disconnect, but also a connection. Like there's this little bit of a tethered wire only to it. And this one is called, I think, Branch and Nightwater. Um, and I was just thinking about, like, how we talk about, let's say, a wave, and as if it's something separate from the ocean. That's a common an analogy. And what would it be to have a piece of the ocean, a piece of the water? So for me, this is a piece of the water, and then this, I've been collecting these awesome branches and roots. And
Mhm.
as a matter of fact, a lot of my students know that, and they bring me some awesome branches and roots. And when I go on walks, I pick things up and I shellac that piece, and it just seemed to me like something that would wash up in the water. And
Okay.
it's like, just abandoned, you know, but
Ah,
somehow tethered.
Okay, so then it is actually kind of one and the same in a way.
Yeah.
Um, that is a really beautiful piece.
Okay.
You're using oil paints, is that correct?
This one is, yes, I used foam just to make this slab, and then I pulled it off. I did a bunch of layers, and then I wanted to change the colors so you can paint on this foam. And I ripped it up and I painted with acrylic first, and then it just really needed something with a little more depth, so I did some oils on top of that.
Hmm. Well, I think the color really is a beautiful addition.
Thank you.
I think it's gorgeous. I really
Thank
do.
you.
So Bonnie, can we talk about this fourth image, this fourth piece? This
Okay.
is the one, isn't this the same piece that we're seeing here on the floor? Or is it not? It kind of looks like,
It's not. I made
oh,
a bunch of those, but it came from the same piece. So yes, I
okay.
made what was a like a giant mound on the table of like piles of filling, let's say, and then I put a big tarp over it, and it was about 10 feet by 10 feet by 5 feet. And then I did spray foam all over the whole thing. After I did the spray foam, I cut it up with a um, like a kitchen, like a turkey knife. And then so they're all slices of that.
I
And then
understand.
I poured the like pink acrylic and pink foam and black foam on top of it.
I understand. Well, so okay. So what I wanted to know, Bonnie, and correct me if I'm wrong, but were you always? I don't think. I think it's safe to say you've been doing this for a long time now, but there was a time when really everything was more flat and two-dimensional, hung on a wall, right? And then
Right.
at some point you jumped off that wall and out into three-dimensional space. I mean, to me, this reads as a sculptural form. Is it fragile? Is it difficult to hang something this organic? Is it something you
Really,
think about and it's while you're making it?
I always figure I'll figure it out somehow. Um, Something will come to me. Um, it's fragile and it's not. I mean, it's pretty heavy. That much foam weighs a lot and it's big. And that one's called Cascade as an object. So again, I was just thinking about what would this wave be without, like just separated from everything else. And so to get that on the wall, I put like a flange in the wall, and then I had pipes coming out of it, and then that's sitting on two pipes secured by flanges in the wall. So yeah.
Very well done. Very well done, Bonnie. So I know that you have this virtual. Can you talk a little bit? Okay, so when I see this piece, I see an it's on this white wall, right? And this makes me think of that virtual thing that you were doing, where your photographs of artworks are superimposed on artificial backgrounds.
Yeah.
Is this kind of like, would something like this work with that, and why?
Yeah, I've done some pieces, and I can run through if we screen share over to my site later on if we have time to
Mhm.
show some of those, because that's a
Sure,
recent project.
good.
I'm calling the
Let me. You may have to help me real quick, okay? Let's
Oh,
see.
okay.
I'll do it
Well,
right now. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Why
Yeah,
not? We're talking about it. Yeah.
yeah, sure.
Let's show everyone the correlation. Well, that is to say, if my computer keeps up. Maybe. Okay.
Looks
What is
thanks.
one more, I did bookmark this, but what is the website for me, real quick?
BonnyLeibowitz.com, BonnyLei.
Let's see if I spelled that right. A little bit of a lag here.
I think you got it.
Okay. So where do I go from here?
On the third one down, the Visitation
The
Project.
visitation project. Okay. Would you like to tell everyone about this in your own way?
Sure. So I yeah, that's the first one I did right there. So what happened was I was disappointed. Of course, I couldn't have my show in New York, and these pieces are hard to show. It's not like you can hang it on a wall and just take a picture. So I've been looking for spaces to place the work and hang it, and it's very challenging. And
Mm,
so, I found a few spaces, and then, like a gallery that, but one of the walls was cement, and so it was a challenge. And then, one had steel beams. Like every place I've been trying, had one issue after another, and I have to be able to present the work somehow. So then I started thinking about doing, bringing the work outside. I just had all different ideas. Some pieces I can photograph in the studio, but some of them are just too big and they don't look right. So I just happened to be at, my son moved back to Dallas, and he and his girlfriend were redoing they just moved into a home, and they were doing their home painting, getting this. So I was over there. They I took a shot of this. That's all their wallpaper was, just shredded all over the floor. And I
mhm,
was like, oh, but I just took a picture. I didn't think anything of it.
mm.
And then I thought, oh, that would be so cool to install one of my pieces there.
Yeah,
And it's like, how about if I bring a piece over and install it while you're working on the house? And they were like, well, tomorrow we're cleaning this up to, get painting. And so I thought, well, I'm just gonna Photoshop it in. And
yeah,
so I came back to my studio and I photoshopped that piece in. And then I thought it'd be interesting for people to send me different environments. So the rest of them pretty much are environments that other people have sent me that I then Photoshop my work into. And that's my friend Joey Brock's studio. And I put two pieces in there. It takes many hours to like Photoshop these in and make it look natural.
oh, I can only imagine. But how brilliant of you to come up with this idea.
Thank you. And
Is
this
this
one was
Photoshop
actually
too?
physical. I'm sorry?
Is this Photoshop too?
No, that one
Oh,
is, I was going to say that's one exception that I actually physically put that piece in a space.
okay. I was gonna say the cast shadows. What? Yeah.
So
Oh,
this is that cascade object.
right.
And I put it, a friend of mine in California, Deborah Kapoor, artist, she sent me this, and it's just like, a warehouse building type place, and pretty mundane. And I put this, cascade object in there.
It seems so alien, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Otherworldly. Oh wow. Yeah. Oh, look at this, everyone. Bonnie, it's brilliant. The
thanks.
juxtaposition that they present creates a whole new conversation in a way,
Right.
and it's just so beautiful to see them in this different context.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, and on a formal level, if you can forget for just a moment that that is some kind of a vehicle behind it, if formally speaking, if you're just looking at colors and line, texture, and movement, that's a very nice juxtaposition. So that's
I
great.
like that the line helps give it some, structure, you
Hmm.
know.
Boy, this piece to me has a lot of movement to it too. Very beautiful. Oh, look. This is your sculptural form right here.
That's right.
Oh, now that is a very nice pairing.
And I can show you
I
that
wish I
piece.
could zoom in, but I can't.
Yeah.
Well, yes, I can. I lied. There we go. There we can see a little bit better. You've even kind of altered the opacity a little bit here
That's right.
to create more of that ephemeral moment you spoke about. Hmm. Wait, what was the title of that? I didn't quite catch that.
Uh,
Persephone and
oh,
Achilles.
that one, oh, Persephone and Achilles. So I had this piece, and I can show you it when they're after, is that the piece with the wing. I've been using actual wings, real wings. And so I attached those pieces. That's a plaster and wax piece. And then I had called it Achilles. Well, when Farrell Brickhouse um, uh, sent me this piece, I I thought of that one, and it was funny because I mean the name of that sculpture is Persephone, and I thought, wow, how perfect.
Yeah,
So you know, I just put them together to hang out
it does
there, and
like
yeah,
it was meant to be. Yeah. Wow. So this looks like a bone to me, and you're making this from scratch, right?
yeah, yeah.
Wow, that's great. This is look at this, guys. Wow,
That was
it's
a
like
funny.
it's overtaking it. That's awesome.
That one was fun because uh, Diane is an artist who's Tenerelli, whose ceramics I have purchased a couple of, and anyway, she had moved into this home, and she was like embarrassed that she had her Christmas presents up, that I mean her Christmas decorations up, that she just bought at some store, and it was just so, it was so, you know, suburban,
Ah,
and it was like she got up so early, and she was like, and I was like, oh my gosh, send me that picture. And so she sent it to me, and I just put that on one of my giant pieces hanging
it's
over it.
very apocalyptic, Bonnie. It makes me think of all the sci-fi movies I've seen.
The
The big
blob.
blob, or, yeah, exactly. It's my favorite so far. No, I do love it. Man, you're the way that you work with these materials is just so fascinating. How you take ordinary materials and you're manipulating those ordinary materials into such an extraordinary form, and now you're creating these interesting juxtapositions between the sculptural form itself and creating these almost illusionary reality, like you said, these other realities.
Yeah.
Wow, that looks like a giant brain.
It might be my brain.
Oh no, another giant blobby brain thing. This is great. Wow, Bonnie, this is so cool.
That piece is called Hunger Object. And this one,
This looks painted almost.
thanks. That's actually canvas, that painting a canvas that's painted, and I stuffed it and sewed it up, and so that's been in my studio hanging out for a while. But it was in one show. But anyway, I just thought it needed to be sitting on the shore, just kind of
Mhm.
sad.
My wife says it has an almost monolithic presence, a mysterious
Thank you.
monolithic presence. Very
Well, I
nice.
have one called Monolith coming up, so she can see that.
Oh, there you go. Wait, where's your? Oh, I see. I see it.
Yeah.
Okay.
This one is called Kiefer's Trumpet, and it was the one before. And
Oh,
that
I'm sorry.
was like an ammunitions. It was like a, in Pennsylvania, there's some, Stephen Barris sent me this picture, and it's was an gunpowder factory like
Mm,
100 years ago in Pennsylvania or more.
wow.
And so it reminded me of a Kiefer. So I put my that little piece up there.
I understand that association. I love his work.
Yeah.
This is also quite lovely.
Yeah. And this one's Monolith.
I'm over here reading while while we're looking at it. Um, let's see. Oh, sorry. Boop. Wait, are we at the? Oh no, there it is.
Oh, it's probably
I think
going
we're
through
at the
it.
end. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing those with us. I think those are
Sure.
absolutely successful and incredibly interesting. Back to your work here. So I have to ask you. I'm looking at this piece. This is one of my favorite photos of you, Bonnie. I
I
think
got lucky on that one.
it's so perfect. I mean, it looks terrifying actually in a way. Your work is so huge and complicated. It must take you a long time to figure out how to hang these things, right?
Yes, and that one, I did a lot of monotypes on paper and with wax, and then I used ink to create the colors on the paper, so it was pretty open. And then it was really satisfying just to cut all these shapes out. was kind of fun because, you know, a lot of my work is physical. It's kind of fun to sit and just cut. So, and then this was at a residency at Michael David's at M. David and Co. in New York. And so I had 20 foot of square, 20 square foot of space. And those ceilings were 13 foot high or more. And so, yeah, I had to kind of figure out how to fill the space and hang it.
Bonnie, I have a question prepared here. It may be too soon to ask, but I'm going to ask it anyway. I don't know why. The question is, when all of these forms are so large and everything is just a lot of material. Do you have a hard time storing all of this when it's between shows? How do you
Yes,
manage all that?
I'm not sure. It's getting to the point that it's pretty much on overload. Like I was on overload when you asked me to do this, you know, visit, and I was like, how am I going to do this? But I'm so glad you did. I mean, it forced me to really like edit and clean up and get things put away. And so like a lot of the pieces that we had looked at, like the cascade and that, they're sitting on the floor, sadly. But you know, I have other pieces up because I had to do new work. But it's still,
Mhm.
you know, I have 700 square feet, but it's not enough
Do you
anymore.
do you have you ever tried to like roll things over cardboard tubes with plastic covering or anything?
Yeah, sure, sure.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Man, I can only imagine 700 square feet and it's not enough. Yikes. Ugh. You know, Bonnie, I have to ask this next question, and I don't know why I feel compelled to ask it, but it's because I myself have run into a similar situation where I've got these ginormous pieces that are just taking up way too much space in my studio, and they've sat there too long. Have you ever just destroyed a work of art or gotten rid of it completely?
Yes, what I usually try to do is I'll use parts, I'll break it up and use it in future pieces.
Okay.
Unless it's something that's really solid that I'm like, you know, that needs to stay just as it is. I'm lucky that I have the two other studios and I can hang things on the walls in there.
Hmm.
You know, the teaching studios.
I'm sure
Uh,
your students are very inspired by seeing your work
well,
everywhere.
thank you. Yes, I have a good crowd
Hmm.
and they're awesome. So yeah, it's I'll definitely use like pieces of one thing, and then it's sad. Like some of them I have to put away, and they do get, you know, just folded up, damaged, uh, but mostly reconfigured.
You want to ask a
But
question?
yeah.
Bonnie, do you mind if my wife asks you a question about your
Oh,
work?
sure, sure.
So I've seen your work over the years, and I feel like it's really kind of morphed, and especially with the photograph, I was like, that was really cool. But I don't know. I really, it wasn't more of a question as much as I just really enjoy how your work has changed. I've seen some that were small, I've seen some that are large, and just I really respond to your colors, to the
Oh,
shape. And so it's just really enjoyable. I feel like it's really progressed, and so it's kind of fun to see where you've come now. And so just, but anyway, I guess my question is how do you
Mm.
how do you come up with these concepts? Are you just working with them as you go, and it just kind of shapes itself, or do you kind of have a image in mind when you start doing it? Is it more of how you're feeling at the moment? Is it more an emotional response to the material? I mean,
how I come up with these
Pick one.
objects? Yeah. With the concept or the objects themselves, you mean?
yes, how you create your piece in general.
Oh,
I think she's asking, is it an intuitive process as you
I,
sculpt your
yes, I
pieces?
think it's more intuitive. Um, I guess, you know, from doing it so many years, there's some sort of base of like the concept. So it almost feels like, I mean, this sounds like, I don't mean to, it just feels like I have a trust that no matter what I touch, it's going to relate to the overall.
Hmm.
Um,
Well,
I mean, I've kind of gotten to that point now.
yes, you have.
Whereas before it felt a lot more like planning and how am I going to make that fit? And now I think I just make. and it's like, whoa, that looks like that.
Bonnie, one of the things that I tell my three-dimensional design students is that every material has its own characteristic and its own kind of limitations. It has a will of its own. Um, you know, and artists sometimes work very hard for a very long time to develop their own kind of visual language. And but Bonnie, I think that you have successfully created a very strong, cohesive, and unique visual language with the materials that you use. And I know that wasn't easy to do, and I know it took a lot of experimentation. Do you ever keep some of, this is the next question, do you ever keep some of the experiments, even though you might not consider them artworks?
I do a couple, sometimes I keep some things that it's like, oh, I don't remember, does that resist this or does that stick to that? And so I'll have like a few little samples, but in general, no, it's
Mhm.
mostly just
It's all
memory.
about space now.
What's
Gotta
that?
go.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
yeah, it's, sometimes I forget, like, oh, wait, did that foam stick to that or does it resist it? Because sometimes you want it to resist so you can pull it off, and sometimes, so like then I have to redo a little experiment. Um, but anyway, thank you so much for your words. I appreciate them very much. But I do keep a few little things, but not much. Usually it's just like, for me, it's kind of like when you take notes. For me, I never read my notes again. It's just writing them is what kind of cements it in my mind more so than um
hmm.
so.
All right, so Bonnie, the next question's a hard one, okay? You said no hard questions, but here it comes. Okay. Okay, no, it's not hard. Come on, just relax. Um, so the next question, though, is about the fragility of your work. I know that your work is in private collections. People have purchased your work for their homes and whatnot. Um, has there ever been an instance where the work has been damaged and you had to go back and repair it? And does that have an impact at all on being able to sell the work?
No, thank goodness I have not had that issue. Thank
Awesome.
goodness.
Okay. All right.
um
I
you
would
know
be terrified because if I bought your work, I would be terrified my 6-year-old would come up to it, you know, and destroy it.
yeah, now I have had people not purchase because they're afraid of that. So
Hmm.
it's like, yeah, what if my dog comes up and wants to chew the bottom of that thing
Yeah.
right there?
Right.
And then I have to make up things like, well, you could hang it really high, or what about in the stairwell? And then, that kind of thing. But I decided a long time ago that, I mean, I am very fortunate that people buy my work, and I'm always surprised that people really do. There are enough people in the world that take a chance, and
Absolutely.
they
They
will.
yeah.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I mean, I've seen people that have the most traditional looking homes put the most unusual pieces in their home, and it's like so cool because they'll send me pictures. But uh, you know, but on the other hand, I do know I'm missing a lot of sales, if you want to call it that, because of the nature of the materials. And I just decided a long time ago that I'm just going to do what I'm compelled to do. And
And you're
you
doing
know,
wonderful things with that. You really are. Bonnie, is it my turn to make a statement and just like make a comment, and then you tell me what your thoughts are? Can we do that?
sure.
So I'm looking at your work, right? And I'm noticing this one almost really for the first time. I kept skipping over it for some reason, and now it's got my attention completely. And then I jump back up here to this piece, and it's almost like I want to see them side by side because I feel like they're completely different.
Yeah.
This one feels like a lifeless lump of flesh, cancerous flesh, and this one feels so alive and vibrant and
Yeah.
full of potential, and with the gold even precious in a way. And this just seems so forlorn and
Yeah.
gone. Yeah, am I reading this right?
Yeah. I think you're right.
So You know, guys, and I'm putting this out there for my students who are listening, for everyone that's participating. One of the things that I was so excited about to share, I'm kind of articulating this for the first time. I was excited to share Bonnie's work with everyone, mostly because I feel, Bonnie, like your pieces, your forms are so in line with the pandemic right now. Whether you intended it or not, I mean, I know that wasn't part of your original, thing, but it does feel in line with that because there's a lot of sickness and there's a lot of health issues, people losing loved ones, and to me this resonates so powerfully with this particular time in everyone's life. And so, man, Bonnie, um, just love your work. Um, can I ask you, is there one of the I know you've got more than, and you're going to share the new stuff with us, but
Right.
is of all the stuff that you've given me to show everyone, is there one piece in particular you want to talk about more than the others, or?
Well, if you'll scroll through, I can see if there's one. Um, well, gosh, it's hard to say. I think, I don't know, I could talk about any of them, but let's say scroll back down a bit again. Um, is that the last one? Okay, I'm sorry, scroll back up. Okay, we could go to this one, the round one right there.
Okay.
That one's called Hunger Object. I don't know. There's two others that I would talk about too, would be Mind and Looming, the big one. But I liked Hunger Object because um, I don't know, it speaks to so many issues for me. To me, it's like that's the one that was also in that visitation project, like eating up that house.
Mm-hmm.
And then I saw those two little teeth that remind me of a mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And that has foam. It's plaster, wire plaster foam. And I don't know, just the word hunger and desire and, this feeding ourselves and like our needs, what we want. And then it just is never enough. And it just feels kind of looming and kind of sickening, but also interesting and kind of inviting at the same time. Like when you see it, you kind of want to hold it. It's a nice size.
Mm-hmm.
And for holding, it's like, I don't know, 20 inches, 20, you'll see it, maybe less. And so I don't know, it just had so many connotations of just like, and then kind of being eaten up by this pandemic thing or eaten up by, I don't know, I don't want to be specific to the pandemic because I mean, just,
Mm-hmm.
life is fraught in general sometimes. But, you know, or how we think about things or our fears. So it says a lot about fears to me too.
I see.
So I don't know. To me, it just had a lot to it. I had a lot of connections to it.
It feels like a very rococo color palette in
Mhm.
contrast with all those and then the shadows seem so menacing to me.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I love Rococo, that period. Gosh.
Bonnie, since you mentioned holding it, it brought to mind a question. Do you ever create pieces that you intend to let people hold or touch?
Yeah, pretty much everybody, like when I plan this installation, people can pretty much touch anything that I'll have out. Yeah,
Wow.
it's no problem.
That kind of goes against the norm, right? I mean, like
Yeah.
most people are like, "Don't touch my art, okay?" You know. That's awfully generous of you to create those moments for people.
Yeah.
Bonnie, would you like to take us into your studio? I want to see the new stuff, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll
Okay.
do a
So
tour
let's
around.
see. How do I do this? Let me. How do I? Okay,
I
stop
think
share.
you can make me a host or something. You can
Yep,
think,
I see it. All right, I'm making you the host now, and now you're driving the bus.
okay.
You look great, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So So if I move this around, you can see the studio now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So I'll walk you around. And
Thank you.
so I'm gonna unplug. Hopefully it'll stay charged the whole time. If I see it going low, I'm gonna come plug. I put an extension cord just in case.
Okay, or when your laptop?
Yeah. These things drain so quickly. So okay. So oops. That ceiling is why I don't want to show the work.
It's just the ceiling. It's okay. Wow, look at that, Bonnie.
So these, let me get back so you can see. I don't know where I'm gonna have to get back far enough for you to see the whole
Wow.
space. Hold on. I have to basically go out the door.
Thank you. Making all that trouble.
So each one of these, hold on, I don't have it in the right spot. So that's hanging. It's a sheet of paper, but it's not regular paper. It's a handmade Japanese paper.
Oh, I see the
And
Bosch reference.
yes. So I don't know how the heck I found it, but I found a JPEG online of Earthly Delights, and it was 500 megabytes.
Wow.
It took 8 minutes to download. So I can have every detail. I can blow this thing up as large as I like. So this whole project, I hope you're able to see it. This whole project is all of these hanging papers are add up to the square footage or the inches of the Garden of Earthly Delights. I don't know how the color is coming out or.
And again, for anyone that might have missed it, the reference to Hieronymus Bosch and the Garden of Earthly Delights is a reference to kind of an artist's interpretation of heaven and hell, good and evil. Is that right, Bonnie?
That's right.
Yeah. And so your fascination with this subject matter is because it has to do with your own experiences in life and what you're going through, I guess. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, look at this. This is great,
Okay.
Bonnie.
See this crazy, I don't know, can you see this crazy root thing on the floor?
Yeah, this is awesome. It's pink. I love pink.
Okay.
Yeah,
I did it just for you. I did it pink. Hold on.
Okay, I'll be there in 30 minutes. I think it's fantastic.
It's
can I
hard
ask?
to.
Go ahead. Ah, okay.
So one of my students lives on Lake Louisville, or she has a place there, and God, I'm so bad at moving this thing.
Yeah, I'm getting a little seasick.
I think I have to switch to my phone to get this. Do you mind holding on a second?
Or something? Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you know what I do? I have a little webcam thing. Hold on. Maybe this will work.
And a tripod?
Shoot. Sorry.
That's funny.
I love the root.
Oh, Disney. Okay.
Hold on. Let me see if I can get this a little bit better. I could actually control the phone a lot better, right? So, geez.
Can I ask you a question, Bonnie, while you're doing that?
Yeah.
Okay. Did the inspiration for this format come from doing the visitation project? You know, superimposing sculptural forms on
No. This
Okay.
all came first. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna switch over to my phone. I have an external camera. I'm just not sure. Let me see if I can. I don't know if I can switch to it.
Okay.
I'm good. Oh wait, maybe I can.
Uh-oh. Come back. Nobody. I don't. You're frozen.
No. Hold on.
Man, technology, right?
Okay. Sorry, hold please. I'm gonna move to my phone. I think, since,
Better quality image maybe or something?
no, just I'll be able to manipulate the,
The scene a little better.
yeah, without rocking the boat so much. I'm sorry.
Bonnie is, always has been an artist after my heart. And I've always responded so much to your work, Bonnie. Do you know, Bonnie, I still have the piece we made together in your studio. You were you were teaching me, right, how to even work with wax in the first place.
Oh, but
Yeah,
then,
but I cherish it. I think it was so much fun making that. If anyone's never worked with wax as a painting medium in caustic, you have to try this. It's amazing. Are you?
okay, can you hear me?
I hear you. I also see you.
Okay.
Oh, I see you. You're on the other feed now. Yes.
Yeah.
But I think I need to make that one. Or no, everyone, you can just pin her secondary feed to make it the large one.
Oh, see, I can hold this much better, right? Can you
Yes,
see that?
indeed. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, better.
That does.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. And I can
Wow.
see.
Mhm. I have to tell you, I love your vibrant color palette. This is so alive. And did you say this was you're recreating scenes from this one painting?
I'm using it as an inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
This is actually a photo. Can you see this painting on this piece?
Mm-hmm.
So that right there, that particular image on there is a photograph of this piece.
Mm-hmm.
This
Okay, so you're taking photographs of existing painting or sculptures and then applying them to these surfaces.
Yeah, at least in this case for this one.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, I'm working with the so sorry, I can't see.
Are you using an archival inkjet printer to print
Yes,
these?
yeah,
Okay.
I have a really good printer.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, now I'm gonna go back over to this side. So each one of these tall papers is painted in the back and the front. So when I do install it, I'm gonna be able to create an environment that you could just walk around and see
Sure.
everything.
Space is needed for sure. Bonnie, would you mind just listing for everyone some of the materials that we are seeing, because I know it's not just paper, and so can you list some of this for us?
Sure. So this, let's say, so this is the photography applied. There's oil paint. I used some pigment sticks, and after I got okay, so I applied this. This paper is, like I said, a big Japanese handmade paper. It's
Mm-hmm.
very thick and heavy, and I tore it. I applied some PVA because I wanted to paint with oils on it. So I wanted a protection on it, but I didn't want it to make it archival, but I didn't want to have like a white gesso. So I used a PVA, and so that's clear. And then I could also collage with it. And then on top of that, I did oil sticks. And oh, before I did that, I took the paper and I don't know if you can see this very well, but it's all rusted. I took some iron filings and I added vinegar, and then I threw it as a wash.
Bonnie, we lost you. Or we lost the cell phone feed. I mean, we're seeing the picture. We lost the audio. Can you hear us? I'm going to make you host again. Or whoops, did I just make John Conti host? No, Bonnie's the host. I'm raising my hand. Bonnie, can you hear me? We can't hear you anymore, sweetheart. Something happened to the audio feed. Darn it. We don't hear you. Maybe if you leave and join. Oh, there. Okay. There went our artist. Wait, she's back. Oh, problem solved, problem solved. Let's see. Bonnie, let's see if I.
Sorry.
Oh, there you are.
Sorry, lost you there for a second.
Okay, awesome. Okay, Bonnie, you just, by explaining your process a little bit, you just made something very clear that was not clear before. These flat painted panels, if you will, on paper or paper pieces, I did not know you were painting both sides. You are turning them into sculptural forms by hanging them. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
And then this one is, let me get some light back here.
Oh,
so
wow.
this
Look at that.
Foam on it. This one in particular, I'm really entranced with like the colors from India, the miniatures, and they use a lot of this very unusual like teals and peaches and yellows. And so I try to capture some of that. And so yeah, so once I can get the lighting on these things, you know, back and front, the install is going to be the end of December. But you can see I'm also going to have these like objects.
Wait, Bonnie, where's the install?
It's at a friend's studio, and it's not a gallery, but it's just a gorgeous space. And
are you going to have intimate viewing or?
No, I'm just doing it for documenting the work.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Man, I look forward to seeing that.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I'm gonna make a video of it too, I believe. And then like here's that, let me see if I can get this. That hunger object is hanging in front. So I want these objects to relate to the
painting.
So that'll be in front of it. So that's I don't know if you can see that, sorry.
Can I ask you one hard question? Just one.
Yeah.
Okay. She's like, no, don't. Well, okay, so we have paintings by Hieronymus Bosch. We also have kind of a historical tradition, Bonnie, that has been established for some time now of treating paintings like sculpture and sculpture like painting. You know, at one point, it was not commonplace, right, for people to, hang paintings out into three-dimensional space or to even apply color to sculpture. So if I asked you, what is the historically speaking, could you mention some art historical references that might have inspired you or motivated you in some way?
Well, I've always loved Renaissance. I've loved, Rococo that you mentioned. I think like my earliest loves have been like Peter Paul Rubens in history, and I just connected with there was one particular piece that made a big impact on me that I always look at. And trying to remember, it's a Massacre of the Innocents. And I've just always had that reference like around me. And I think everybody just connects to different pieces at different times. And then I think probably maybe it doesn't show in these works, but I love the abstract expressionists. Here's another piece. This one's a particular kind of plastic. Hold on if I can get it.
Melted plastic.
Yeah, that's a melted plastic.
Oh Lord, are you wearing respirators when you're working?
Oh yeah. Oh
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. All
Well,
right.
this one is a particular material. It's unusual. It's what it is it's a you can heat it and it sticks to itself. It's actually used for like theater,
Hmm.
to make costumes, I guess, and
Hmm.
things. That
Really?
doesn't make it any safer, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's still melting plastic. But and then and I'll show you some things on the table that I'm going to be hanging to, if you like. So
Okay.
different different objects I can hold up, like, so this is
Woo! That's pretty.
let me put it in front of a white wall so you can see it.
So
Um,
is this from Smooth On? Are these materials that are that color
yes,
already? Okay.
yes, they are.
Hmm. I've worked with some cast polyurethanes and plastics myself. Um, they're beautiful to look at for sure, and the contrast between the natural and the synthetic is interesting.
Right.
Hmm.
Here's that piece with the feather, with the wing.
Oh wow! Oh, I didn't see the color so much before. I see. Wow, that's
Well,
nice.
you were right. I just desaturated it for,
Hmm.
for the purposes of that photo.
So Bonnie is a painter, a sculptor. She's a photographer. She's a digital artist. She's an installation artist.
I
I mean,
guess I get bored easily.
yeah, it's all over the place, you know. Bonnie, you're amazing. I love your work, and I can't tell you how grateful I am that you agreed to share you and your work with us today. Thank
Thank
you
you
so
so
much.
much. Oh,
Yeah.
thank you. I really
I want to just,
appreciate it.
I just want to, we're almost done. I want to wrap it up, but I thought I would wrap it up by inviting the viewers to ask any questions if they wanted to. Is that all right with you?
Okay.
Okay. Does anyone have a question for Bonnie today?
Hi, Bonnie. Joanne.
Oh, hi, Joanne. Great
So
to see you.
good to see you too. This is as close as I've come to meeting you in real life.
One of these days.
Yeah, right. So I really have, I wanted to go back to a materials question, which is you use foam, the foam thing that you paint acrylic on top of. What kind of foam is that? I mean, it looks like a sheet. I don't know. I mean, what kind of
That
foam
one.
do you use? Yeah.
Yeah. So that foam is a two-part foam, and I've used it on a lot of the different 3D objects that you see. The one that looked like a sheet was only because I poured the foam on. What I did was I needed something that would resist it, so I took a giant board, I covered the board with wax, and then I poured the foam on it because the foam won't stick to the wax. So it released, and then I had just a big sheet of the foam.
Okay.
Does that make
Okay.
sense? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of fun.
Bonnie, you're using materials because they do what you want them to do. It isn't necessarily that you wanted to work with foam. It's that foam gives you the surface and the texture you desire. Is that right?
Right.
Okay,
Right.
I understand.
I mean, it's kind of like, yeah, I want to use materials I just feel excited about, and then I might make up an excuse to do that. But for the most,
You
for the
didn't have to
most
tell
part,
us
I'm
that,
not.
Bonnie. That's funny. Does
But
anyone else have a question for Bonnie? Okay, Bonnie, thank you
yes,
so much for your time today.
thank you.
You're a
It's
jewel.
awesome. Oh, you are. Thank you so much. I'm honored and appreciate Wade College and for you, Jason, inviting me to do this, and it's an honor. I really appreciate it. It's a real boost. We don't get to talk to people about our work enough. It just feels fantastic, and I really appreciate it.
I started this virtual studio visit as a way to connect students with artists because it's so hard right now to go to galleries and museums. And it's been an exciting adventure. It really has. And having artists like you, wow, you've made it exciting. So thank you
Thank
again.
you. Thank you.
Bonnie, I will be sending you, or somehow I'll share the recorded session with you. Okay.
Fantastic.
Just
Thank
give
you.
me time to figure it out.
Okay.
All right, guys. Thanks so much, Bonnie.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Bonnie.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.